Okay, I think we should be live now.
Trying to stream to audience. I think I have to connect Twitter.
Yeah, you need to authenticate once.
Authorize. Boop boop. Oh, okay, cool. Stream this
Okay.
to your audience. I have to title it Sweet Ecosystem
Yeah,
Call.
just call it Sui ecosystem call.
No, no. Save change. Did it do anything?
I will have to check.
Oh, okay. I have a little live button now.
Okay, perfect. I think it should be working now. It's being recorded, so it's all good from our side. I think we can get started.
Okay.
Okay. Um, so for those who have joined, this is going to be like a regular format that we're trying out. Essentially, it's a call that's meant to put some spotlight on what this ecosystem is up to, what kind of projects are happening, and just look into what the community is up to as well. So I think we can start with the agenda first. We have an upcoming disclaimer. Essentially, we are doing this through First Movers, which is an independent community. We're not here as official SWE employees or whatever. So take that as you may. There will be some alpha. There will not be any official corporate agenda that we're trying to run. We'll move on to intro to what First Movers is. I think we've kind of alluded to this before, but just give you a general overview of the community. The third section is my favorite section. It's called CT Scan. I take full credit for naming it CT Scan because I think it's hilarious. But we're basically going to go over Twitter, what's been going on in the SWE ecosystem, the SWE community, lots of controversies happening as well. So we'll maybe briefly touch on those. Then, Sarah, do you want to take the sections afterwards?
Yep, can do. Oh, you mean just like say them on the agenda? I was like,
Yes.
okay, cool. Then after the CT scan, we have ecosystem alpha, so just talking a little bit more about what's going on in the current Sweet ecosystem. And then we have an amazing guest of honor. It looks like Amogh spelled it a very British way, because he's British, as you know. But and explain it like I'm vibe session with Eka, so they can tell you a little bit more about their product and why it's so exciting to be on Sweet. And then we have some motherfucking Squid Market NFT alpha, hopefully. After that, ecosystem wins, just what's going on in the ecosystem and all the exciting things that has happened recently. And then we'll move on to first mover bounties.
All right. Perfect. So I guess just to memify the disclaimer, we're not here as employees. We're here as we enjoyers. So yeah, nothing is off limits, and we're not going to get corporate at all. All right. So what is First Movers? But before I do that, I want to play an introduction for those that were on time. It's a 22-second long video that I think is hilarious, and we will use as the intro for our ecosystem calls going forward. So here we go.
On your mark, get set.
At which he won 14 gold medals.
So the idea is very simple. First Movers is just a community for SWE builders. Our goal is to support everything that you're doing, and just providing all the support that you need to build a successful project on SWE. Right now, the membership is closed, and you will need to show us some work that we'll get to probably in the bounty section at the end. But join the Discord for now. We have a first set of first movers that have already been onboarded. And to become a first mover going forward, you will need to show us some of your contributions. And the bounties is just a lot of alpha that that we'll be working through to onboard you as a first mover. But yeah, join the Discord, and now I think we can get into the agenda. So CD scan. Here we're going to go through crypto Twitter, see what the community's been up to, what they've been complaining about, what they've been happy about, etc., etc. Sarah, do you want to take this over?
Yeah, so as you guys all may know, there have been some viral trends that have gone on in both the Web 2 and the Web 3 space. I think it's a great way to get a lot of Web 2 creators kind of familiar with Web 3 when we also post a lot of things that can go viral on its own. But first, I guess the first one that happened was really the morning routine. I just started seeing a lot of bananas and Saratoga sparkling water. So that was super odd until I saw the actual video, which is very fun. It's this guy's morning routine where he tapes his mouth shut. He wakes up before the morning, does a bunch of really odd tasks,
He
does an ice
also dives for 4 minutes. He's in the air for 4 minutes.
yes, he's in the air for 4 minutes. It's a very quick switch. But he does a bunch of really odd things. Some of the most pointed callouts being his Saratoga face ice bath, and then also rubbing a banana peel on his face. And if you check the Walrus Twitter right now, you can see Walrus actually also did a morning routine. Super crazy. He did some things with the founders, celebrated his Walrus birthday. So definitely check that out. And then with the Biblified stuff, ChatGPT released their new update that allows creators to make art in different art styles, and Ghibli really took off. People were just making different memes, making their own photos, Ghiblified, which is a really cool way to kind of preserve a lot of anonymity in the crypto space since people were allowed to kind of post their personal photos and then not really dox themselves. So that was really awesome. So these are some trends we saw that bled into Web3 and would love to see more content creators kind of create things that are coming from Web2 space and staying viral since usually it only lasts about 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, fair point. Some comments. Stan said, "Mom, am I on TV right now?" Yes, we just give you a shout out and you're on TV now. People are
Oh,
saying GM to Chow, but not to me, and I'm offended, but it's fine.
don't worry. You don't need to tell Amogh good morning. Only me.
Okay, so some controversies. I think this one is a bit dated, but a lot of the community was against, or rather confused about what ambassadors should be doing, what they should not be doing. I think since then we have kind of done an overhaul of how Sui ambassadors work. And Jessica, I think, came up with some really good points. She also shared some very constructive feedback that I'm sure the team really appreciated. But yeah, generally, I think the sentiment at that time was just that a lot of the ambassadors were doing some insider trading activities, and they weren't really spilling whatever they were doing. There were some conflicts of interest, etc. But I can assure you, Death and Mosaic Regressor, these guys are very, very active. They're on top of everything, and hopefully by now the ambassador program has been revamped a bit. Sarah, I don't know if you have thoughts on this.
Yeah, I know the community team is working on revamping the program, making sure that all of the creators are pushing out good content and they're being good representatives of the foundation. I think it's still in flux on applications and just getting everything set up for the next wave, but I'm really excited to see what they put out and who they kind of pick to best represent the brand.
Yeah, fair point. But yeah, hopefully, I think it brings about a positive change to how ambassadors, how the ambassador program works for the Sri Foundation, and yeah, hopefully we get some more new people and more alpha. Okay, I guess the topic of the hour is probably going to be DeFi incentives. I think there's been a ton of backlash on how DeFi incentives have worked, and I think generally with the wall launch, which was pretty important for the DeFi ecosystem as a whole, uh, there was a lot of criticism about some protocols getting incentives and some not getting incentives. I know internally there's a big sprint to fix how incentives are, but yeah, I mean complaints for the most part, we completely understand. I think in many ways it's important for DeFi protocols to be competitive to get some of these incentives. Jose, for example, who's been an amazing Sui ambassador. He's been an open source warrior. He has like the whole community behind him, which is great to see, to be honest. But yeah, hopefully we can come up with a quick resolution to make him and his product competitive. And yeah, internally, I know for a fact that a lot of people are working to um, improve and revamp the process. Okay, should I move on?
Yeah.
Okay, this was just an honorary mention. I think Julie is hilarious, and this tweet just like I chuckled. I don't know if it made you laugh, Sarah.
No, it made me laugh. I like when people are able to bring things back from a more serious light into a more funny one. I think the most productive conversations have a little bit of humor and people not taking things too seriously. I think constructive feedback is good feedback, but not when it just becomes a very PvP environment. So, like to see when people have a little bit more fun with these things.
But yeah, to ethics, all you had to do was say thank you and you would get the incentives. Okay, BTC Fire, Sarah, please take it over.
Yeah, so I think this is a really big focus right now. I think a lot of chains are focusing on BTC Fi, but Sui has definitely leaned in a lot. We can learn a little bit more from Ika on how they're supporting a lot of the BTC Fi on Sui, but just wanted to highlight some of the tweets, either from maybe official accounts and non-official accounts around the ecosystem of what's being really highlighted and excited in space. You've seen like Satlayer, Babylon, Lombard, Ika, Redstone all being released very quickly, and that's kind of shifting the narrative to ensure that we're kind of encapsulating a lot of the liquidity coming from Bitcoin and making sure that it has a home on Sui so then people can use it very easily, natively, and be able to trade assets when they want them, where they want them. So I think that's something that Sui is really a good use case for, is being able to have and use any assets anytime. So we want to set up the infrastructure for that and promote just kind of the growth of all things Bitcoin. Would love to see more of like the stablecoin payments as well on the space. But I think those are really applicable kind of focuses for Web3 in general. It's things people understand when they can actually use them and have more consumer focus. And I think it's a great way to onboard people that maybe aren't crypto native, or maybe they are crypto native and coming from different ecosystems.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely spot on. Generally, there's a big focus on BTC Fi on Sui. We have David on the call as well, who'll be joining in a subsequent section, and he will talk more about what Ika unlocks for Sui as a whole and for BTC Fi separately as well. Okay, I guess the big event was the seal in the room. Walrus had the network launch and the TGE yesterday. Generally, I think the sentiment was really good. Those that were, very active on Sui, um, pushing the ecosystem forward, they really did get handsomely rewarded. And yeah, I guess other than the controversy around the incentives, generally the launch went really well. The community is absolutely pumped, which is amazing to see that even in a I guess whatever you want to call it, like a bull market, like a non-bull market, people were very, very excited, and yeah, can't wait to see what else is in the store for us with regards to launch.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback on what Amog said, it was a super smooth launch. I think maybe there were only a few things people noticed, like right when it happened at 3 a.m., uh, which was my time, but I think everything kind of ironed itself out, and then people were able to claim really easily. They could stake really easily, and then a bunch of exciting DeFi protocols were able to like open pools and make it easy for people to earn insane juicy APY. So super excited to see all of that and seeing the community come together to really support a launch. I think this, based on the raise, is a unicorn. Like Miston Labs, this week community created a unicorn out of nothing. So that's awesome to see. And I don't think a lot of chains can say the same things, especially when considering, I think the Walrus raise was at the same level as some of the L1 raises that we've seen this year. So that's like actually crazy that decentralized storage has this big of a narrative and this big of an impact, especially for products that have utility compared to something that might be vaporware the next day.
Did you get airdrop FOMO?
Oh, so much FOMO. I want airdrop, but I like seeing all the videos that everyone else was able to post, especially with people like Mr. Breadsmith who got 100,000 in wall, which I think at one point was worth like 50K or more. So that's actually insane. I love to see that people are being rewarded for being good users on Sui. I know there's been some discourse on like how you were actually getting Walrus allocations, but I think they favored people who've been around in the ecosystem for a long time, who have made significant contributions, have been using NFTs, using the space, and not just people who are trying to do their best to airdrop farm. So there were some limitations on that, but it was really to reward the people in the community that had stayed around the longest and really believe in it.
Yeah, and I think generally there was so much backlash when Sui had launched, but I think the team had always maintained that I think testnet incentives and things like grinding on the testnet doesn't really contribute to the network that much. So I think it's great that the Sui community is getting rewarded finally for being on the grind and being active in the ecosystem for so long. I don't think the Walrus TGE or the airdrops were farmed either, or if someone was trying to farm, they probably did not, extract much out of the protocol anyways, which is a big problem with airdrops. So yeah, overall, I think very happy. As far as I know, I think less than half of the amount earmarked for airdrop was actually sent out in the first wave, and there might be a second wave. So if you're getting FOMO like I am, like Sarah is, I think definitely just stay active. And yeah, contributors are always rewarded on Sui.
Yeah, the biggest thing is making sure that it's more about like real use and not just I made as many walrus sites as I could so I could farm a potential airdrop.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I guess Sui Basecamp is the one big event that all of us are really, really looking forward to. I think as opposed to last year where we had the first edition, this time it's in Dubai, which is way more accessible for people to just come to and attend the event. I think Paris last year was a bit prohibitive in that sense. I'm very, very excited to meet people that couldn't make it last year. Generally, I think I have some thoughts on the speaker lineup as well. If you compare it with how the speakers and who the speakers were in the first edition, it was so different because Sui was very new. The ecosystem was in its very, very nascent stages. And if you look at the speaker panel now, we have, the very established Sui projects, and it's mostly just Sui founders that are going to be taking over the whole stage. So I think as somebody who's rooting for Sui ecosystem projects to succeed, there's, nothing more exciting for me to than to see good representation from projects at this event.
Yeah, 100%. I think also I'm very excited that it's going to be a very accessible place for people to visit because I know every time we have events in the US, there's a lot of visa issues with certain countries. So it's good that Dubai, I think, is visa-free travel from China. So that's very exciting, especially for a lot of employees at Sui Foundation and Mission Labs who also have problems just getting into different countries. So very bullish on this event. We are really excited to see everyone there. Also, I guess one thing I want to know is when you want to talk to people at Sui Foundation in the community or from Mission Labs, we have no idea what you look like because you all have weird PFPs. So when rootlet people are like, "Oh, like I want to meet you," I'm like, I literally don't know what you look in real life. So you gotta like kind of figure that out once you get there to like make sure people know who you are, whether it's on your badge, using your Twitter name or your Telegram name. So just keep that in mind that no one has any idea who you are, which is sometimes is on purpose, but it's very hard to meet people in person. You're like, I don't know who John is. And you're like, oh, hi, I don't know, like Mr. Bread Smith. And it's like, cool, that's great. I would have never been able to tell from your cat bread photo.
Yeah, very fair point. And in terms of, I guess, the relevance of Basecamp, last year we announced the Sui Play at Basecamp. I don't know what's in store for this year, but yeah, super excited for all the alpha, for all the announcements, and just I guess meeting the Sui community as a whole in one place together. Stan, if you post even a single London GIFs, I think you will be banned. But yeah, I guess we can stop at that. Sarah, is there any merch teasers? I guess I would want to make my opinion even more public about the Crocs. It's If I have any say, then I would just say no.
Well, good thing that Amogh doesn't run the merch store, and I do. But yes, Basecamp merch. So I'm in final talks with a lot of partners so we can stand up our own merch store. So then people externally from Sui can actually order things and send them to their own residences. So that will be really exciting coming end of Q2, or at least by end of Q2. With Basecamp merch itself, there's a lot of really exciting things. I'm trying to encourage a lot of the partners and other protocols or projects that are working to build on Sui to bring exciting things. So you'll expect to see a lot of great things from our partners that aren't official Sui merch. And with official Sui merch, we're trying to do a little bit more creative things with our branding, make things that really like stand out for the moment and to cause a lot of FOMO. So if you already don't feel FOMO right now, you're really going to feel FOMO once Basecamp hits because of all the alpha and because of all the cool merch that you've missed out. So again, get your tickets now. Let us know if you potentially need maybe I shouldn't say this, but reach out to us and we might be able to help you with certain things. We won't be able to buy your flights to Basecamp, but there are other things that we could probably assist with. But it's going to be a great event. There's going to be a lot of alpha, a lot of merch, and then it's going to be a lot of FaceTime with people from Sui and Mission Labs because the entire company is coming out. We're doing our offsite after Basecamp, so you'll really be able to get FaceTime with product engineering, partnerships, and we'll have a Meet Sui booth at the event that will always be staffed by 4 individuals from different disciplines. And then you can ask your questions there and they can best guide you to the right resources. Because that's something I know has been missing from the ecosystem is like, where do I go? Who do I talk to? So we want to make that a lot easier for people. So overall, should be a great event, and the branding is also really sick.
And if you guys have any merch ideas, please post them in the comments.
Yes, 100%. We want to hear what you guys say, but also if it has to be better than Crocs. If it's not better than Crocs, then we won't make it.
I think the benchmark is underground, so you can't do worse. Go
Tomato,
wild with
tomato
your
mode.
ideas. Okay, now coming to some of the upcoming projects that we're really excited about, I also wanted to kind of plug in Sui Overflow, which is the global official hackathon. We have tons of prizes, tons of tracks. So if you're considering or if you're in the process of building anything on Sui, definitely make sure to check out Sui Overflow and make use of the resources that we have for Sui Overflow. Send your submissions in, and yeah, I think generally so many really good projects came out of Overflow last year. And again, like I said, a network that was very nascent last year has upgraded a fair bit by this year. So I think the quality of the projects and submissions is only going to go up. So I'm very, very excited to see what the Sui community cooks.
Yeah, and if you haven't checked out the Sui Overflow site yet, it's awesome. The designers made it really interactive and fun, and there's a lot of cool tracks that you guys can join. I think one of the biggest changes from last year was the degen and meme track, so that's going to be really interesting. I think the biggest thing that we want to see coming from like hackathons is innovative products that could really change the Web3 landscape. It's like, how are you going to change the world and make this decentralized future come faster?
So a shout out to some projects that have announced, teased, or gotten close to their product launches. Noodlesify, Sarah, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, for sure. This project is in beta and it's just starting to do their marketing pushes, but it will be an indexer and then a way to aggregate everything that you can do on Sui throughout the different DeFi protocols. So it should be like a one-stop shop for all of your DeFi needs to make it easy with like very easy UI, UX to make sure it's a good onboarding experience for those that are native to Web3 or new to Web3 completely. I think it's good for people that are familiar with Sui or people that don't know a lot about Sui and they just kind of want one place to understand what all of their options are.
Next is AdToken. I don't know if you guys saw, but the AdToken team kind of teased their product. But basically, within the existing interface of a social media application like Twitter, they allow you to, say, purchase a coin, mint an NFT, and do all sorts of actions without having to download any external plugin, which is a big, big breakthrough, in my opinion, for something like social tokens and even like NFT mints, for example. Imagine just scrolling through Twitter and being able to mint it with the click of a button without switching your tabs. Without abstracting away any complexity, essentially. And generally, I think it's a very, very cool product that will unlock a lot of breakthroughs for social finance and how people interact with Sui as a whole. I think the whole friction of leaving Twitter and going to like a separate page with like a trading terminal or something by itself is very complicated, may not be fit for mass use, so to say. So yeah, I think AdToken team is absolutely killing it, and they're kind of reinventing how social trading is thought of and what kind of product iterations can be made on top of that.
Yeah. And just to add on to what Amogh said, AdToken was also a participant in the first hydropower cohort. So we're super excited to see them kind of building new things and finding product market fit with their original product and also the new things that they're releasing.
Do you want to take the other three as well?
Yes, I can talk a little bit more about Talentum. So Talentum and Potato are also in the next hydropower cohorts, so really excited to chat about them. But you might have seen Talentum already in the space. They want to be like an identity solution in Web3, so you being able to take your identity profile to different apps to make sure that like you don't have to keep filling it out every time you go to like a new place. It's kind of very like OAuth similar, just taking your digital profile to different places. They also are interested in questing and then making it an easy experience for people to try new things. So very excited about Talentum and seeing what they do more on Sui. With Potato, I think that's a known and beloved product right now that a lot of people have used. My favorite thing is that you can just kind of monitor other wallets or your own wallet. It's not actually connected, so there's no risk of someone being able to steal things from you, especially if you get onto X spaces like on Uber Geeks. Someone talked about how they almost got their entire wallet drained, but Potato sent them a notification that a transaction happened. So they're like, that's weird. It's really early in the morning. I didn't do anything. So they were able to save a lot of their assets before they got their wallet completely wiped. So Potato is a great kind of product for that. You can also like stalk other people. So if you know someone's wallet ID, you could just like set alerts and basically copy trade from them. So I guess kind of similar to Insidex, but you would have to do a lot of that more manually. But the team is really great. And they always like to take feedback. I think with all these products, it's great to provide feedback directly on their X because that's the way that you're going to be able to reach them most easily and for them to actually take feedback from users. Because at the end of the day, what these products all want to do is to grow their number of users, be useful to people, and find product market fit in that way. And then lastly, Space Pause. I know that they've kind of revamped a lot of their socials recently, but they're going to be a really cute game on chain. If you look at their art, it's something that we don't typically see a lot in the gaming world. It's very cute. It looks just like overall very aesthetic, more akin to something of the Animal Crossing space or some of those more casual play games. So very excited to see what they do. And their team is really awesome and they're participating in some other things in the Sui ecosystem very soon.
You didn't talk about the picture in the slide.
Oh, sorry. We also have a walrus vape. Apparently, it's not live. Like it's just kind of ideation. But they went to an event and then like showcased like their vape to earn product. It's kind of like Puff Paw that exists. I think that's on Bear Chain or at least it's like multi-chain EVM. But this will be our competitor for that. I know there's some concerns and controversies on are we promoting like healthy habits because nicotine addiction like isn't super healthy and great, but we all know everyone in the space is probably super addicted anyways, whether it be pick your poison, cigarettes, Zins, vapes. So if it's a product that the masses want and they find product market fit, that's great. It's also walrus themed.
Okay, nice. Some comments about pot. I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it supposed to be potato or I
Potato?
if it was up to me, I would say potato, but I don't know.
Hmm. I've been calling it potato. We could ask
Okay.
the founders at some point. It's like how to say Adeni's name. It's not Adeni. It's not whatever the heck other people say. It's like Adeni. There's like more emphasis at the end. But like no
All
matter how many
all
times
the
you said
three pronunciations sounded the same to me.
well, yeah, that's the problem. There is a specific way you're supposed to pronounce his name. No one pronounces it right. And that's going to be the same with potato. It's going to be the same with chowtato. I think Will, the head of DevRel, keeps calling me chowtato. Chowtato? Hip hip cheerio. I'm like, not correct. Try again.
Okay, hilarious. I will move on to the next NFT. Man, so the order, I don't know if people have looked into it, but I don't know. Personally, it's giving me very cultish vibes. They are doing the mint to what they're calling, I think, the Oath on the 29th. So definitely do check it out. Basically, it's like a pass for a mint. I think the website, the docs seem pretty cool, cryptic. And I'm personally a big fan of having a full-fledged cult on Spi, so definitely do check it out. I think it's one of the more exciting mints that's upcoming on Spi. You can scan the barcode if you want to check out their website, check out their docs. But yeah, seems like a very cool project till now. Well, I shouldn't say cool, but very cryptic till now. Okay, so now for the guest of honor, I will call David from ICA to the stage. And I think, David, you can introduce yourself, but basically the premise behind this segment is for David to do like an Eli 5 on what ICA is and what it enables. He's promised to not get too technical, so I will take your word for it. And yeah, David, you can take it away now.
Thank you so much for having me. This is like a really fun format. I really enjoyed it so far. I'm on the British side, although I have to say, so it's advantage UK. Um, anyway, thank you for having me, and really excited, and it's an honor to be like the first guest in the first meetup, and I'm looking forward for the next ones. Uh, Before I start about Ika, I'll just say that I really appreciated, bringing in, also some of the like um, grievances or complaints that people had in the ecosystem, but I really think the past few days, and especially the Walrus launch, has been such a huge milestone for Sui in this market, and especially for a project like ourselves and other projects that are going to launch soon. I think it's a really, really good signal, and we've been hearing a lot of very, very positive feedback also from our environment. So yeah, just wanted to say that as well.
While David talks, I would really want everyone to swarm the chat with squid emojis. Or maybe
100%.
GIF, because David is a GIF connoisseur, for those that don't know.
Um, do you want to run the slides, or are they here? Okay, awesome. So I can start talking about Ika. A lot of people might have heard that Ika is the fastest parallel MPC network, but that doesn't usually say a lot about what Ika actually does and why it's so special and how it's connected to Sui. And so I'll try and run through on a very, very high level on a lot of those things now. Of course, it can't cover everything. Ika is a very, very complex, deep technical infrastructure, but hopefully it'll give you a better idea of what Ika is and why it's so special and exciting that it's launching on Sui. The problem that we want to solve in one word is interoperability. And in a multi-chain world like we have today, interoperability is a real need that people try to solve in different ways. But all of the solutions that you have today, which are things that like bridges and cross-chain messaging and MPC networks, they are all slow. They don't scale. They're all very centralized, and they introduced security risks, which means they remove the zero trust assumption that blockchains have. So in a blockchain, you never have to trust anyone because you own a key, and you know that no one can spend your assets without having your private key. But when you start using interoperability solutions, you lose that very, very basic, important guarantee. And that is why we saw a lot of hacks that are targeting bridges, because the moment you have this security vulnerability introduced, someone will take advantage of it. So this is the problem that we wanted to solve. And the way that we solved it is through Ika. And I wanted to talk about Ika through the main primitive, the main concept that Ika enables on Sui, which is a D-wallet. And the D-wallet is a new primitive that is uniquely enabled by Ika on Sui. So it won't be available anywhere else. It will only be available for Sui builders. And what that enables is to control any asset and to enforce any logic on any other network directly from a Sui smart contract. And one of the really unique and interesting capabilities or features is that every action that a D wallet performs on other networks, every action requires both the user and the Ika network. So as a user, I don't have to trust the Ika network, or I don't have to trust even the Sui network. I know that every action always requires me as a user, which brings back the zero trust guarantee that I have on a single blockchain, but implements it now on a multi-chain setting. And there are a lot of interesting things, like it can apply to non-smart contract networks like Bitcoin. So because we're not relying on smart contracts, we are actually signing messages and signing transactions on other networks. That applies also to networks like Bitcoin or Dogecoin or Litecoin, any non-smart contract network. It also is programmable with a Sui smart contract, so you can enforce any logic that you want, whether it's DeFi, whether it's custody, identity. There are a lot of very interesting use cases that people are building, and we'll talk about that in a second. And all of that would be programmable through a Sui smart contract. And another very interesting feature is that for the first time in Web3 history, you can transfer the ownership of an account. So today, if you have an account, if you have a private key, you can never, ever transfer it. And if someone else reveals the private key or finds out, then that account is compromised forever. But with a D wallet, you have this new method. We won't get into it in a very high level overview. But for the first time, if I own a D wallet, which is an account that can have an address on any other network. If I own that, I can transfer the ownership to another user and then stop having access or never being able to compromise that account, which is something very interesting. And a lot of people are building new and exciting use cases around this capability. So this is like a very, very high level overview where we took the different categories of solutions and the different fundamental principles of Web3. And we're showing here basically that if you want to have user ownership, which is zero trust, if you want to have decentralization, if you want to have robust access control and programmability, if you want the solution to be natively multi-chain, and if you want it to be scalable, the only thing that will allow you to do all of those is a D-wallet on Sui. No other solution can give you all of that. They all have trade-offs. You need to, give up user ownership and decentralization for multi-chain, or you need to give up multi-chain in order for it to be decentralized and zero trust. You never have anything that is robust infrastructure for developers to build these types of solutions. Can move forward. And just to talk a bit about Ika and Sui. So Ika, much like Walrus, which just launched and we love very much, is coordinated on Sui. So Ika has, it's just like Walrus has its own network of storage providers. Ika has its own network of signers, people who nodes who participate in an MPC process, but that is coordinated on Sui, just like Walrus is coordinated on Sui. This is why the Ika token will live on Sui, and all of the states, all of the output of the MPC processes will be written to Sui's state. Sui is, fast, parallel, it's secure. It's, for us, it was a no-brainer to choose Sui, and it aligns a lot with the level of performance and security that we wanted to have with Ika. And because Ika is so aligned with Sui, the building block that we enabled, the D-wallet, is something that is uniquely enabled only for Sui smart contracts. So you won't be able to utilize this D-wallet, this primitive, on any other network. And we're also really proud and happy to have kind of tapped into the community on Sui. We feel like we have such an amazing and passionate community that is, taking kind of wild ideas and running with them and creating so much fun content and challenges. And there's room for, very, very technical people and just, degens who want to degen, which we're super happy to have kind of find our home on Sui.
So, if I had to ask you for like a TLDR, basically you can control any asset on any chain without leaving Sui, and you can do so at the ease of like. Can you just use the Sui wallet to do so, or do they need to download the wallet separately when it's
So
on main?
that's a really good question, and because this is also something that is sometimes a misunderstanding. So what Ika provides is actually very low-level infrastructure for builders. And builders can utilize this new primitive, this D-wallet. It's not like a user-facing app. So builders can utilize that in their products, and we'll actually run through a few use cases and a few examples of Sui builders that are doing that. And the end user doesn't even need to know that they're running on Ika or using a D-wallet. It can be completely abstracted for them. But it does have all the capabilities and the performance of Sui, and it does allow you to still have the same security guarantees that you would have by operating on that blockchain directly. So those are the main features that the D-wallet enables for builders.
So basically, within Sui, I can say deposit my funds on Ethereum on Aave and never interact with MetaMask at all in this whole process.
Yeah, exactly. And also for a lot of users, they won't even sometimes know, the chain would be completely abstracted. They won't even know that it's on that chain or that chain. And, honestly, at the end of the day, our goal in onboarding and having mass adoption for Web3 is to make Web3 boring, right? Making the end users and like learn all of these different chains and what they are and what they aren't and how to use them. This is something that will never happen. Like mass adoption will never happen if this is a requirement. So I think Ika and Sui will become critical infrastructure for making Web3 boring, for making end users not care about all the different chains and all the different infra and what is ZK proofs, and all of those things don't matter to the end users. They just want the end result to happen, and for it to happen fast and securely.
Yeah, I mean, imagine caring about your Facebook instance running on AWS. It's insane. But yeah, I
I
guess
mean,
we
it's
quickly run into like the use cases and then move on to the next section where I'm gonna put you on a spot. I think that would be amazing.
awesome. So yeah, use cases. I mean, these are just a few of the use cases and categories of use cases that it enables. We have institutional DeFi. So because the level of security and the fact that we're not using derivatives, so wrapped assets, it opens up, unlocks a lot of options for institutional DeFi. And we have Ray Finance that is focused on that as Sui Builder. DeFi interoperability. So multi-chain lending, multi-chain swaps. We have projects like Full Sail and Tagboat on Sui that are currently utilizing ICA to build those capabilities. Programmable Bitcoin, which is probably today the largest category that people are interested in utilizing ICA for. Bitcoin is a huge asset. Over, I don't know, like 2/3 of the value of Web3 is locked in Bitcoin, and you can't do really anything with it. It's very capital inefficient. And we have projects like Native Network and Nativeverse and Cobalt and Crocs, and actually many others in various stages that are building solutions for BTC-Fi or Bitcoin programmability on Sui. Decentralized custody is also a very big category. Today, all custodians are very centralized. You don't really have good solutions for decentralized custody, and if you have things like Gnosis Safe are very limited to a very specific chain. And today there are projects like Aeon and Human Wallet by Holonym, who are venture-backed companies that are completely revolutionizing the custody space and building infrastructure for both retail and institutions on Sui. So that's really exciting. We have gaming, which is also something I think Sui is going to really shine. And ICA enables a lot of really cool things, not just on the multi-chain front, but also on managing access to accounts, to gaming accounts, for doing things like boosting or renting out your account for others to play with. And the last piece, which is also like an emerging category on Sui, AI agent guardrails. So AI agents are really exciting, but with ICA, you can have MPC guardrails, so they can operate across any network, but they can't go haywire, and they can't go outside of the very strict policies that you create for them. So yeah, that's kind of a very high level overview. I hope it wasn't too dense and too technical. But yeah, if there are any questions from the crowd, I'm happy to take them.
Yeah, I guess we just have time for one question, which is well, three questions technically. Spill as much as you can, David, without getting yourself into trouble.
Okay, this is a very thin line to tread as a founder, but I'll do my best. So yeah, the MF Squid market. Actually, we were playing around with the next stage, and people immediately figured it out and started leaking it on Twitter. But I can say that the next stage, which is the ink sack, is going to be a list of tasks that also connect to the NFTs, and for which you can earn ink droplets. I'm not going to say what the ink droplets are for because I can't, but I hope the name is suggestive enough. So keys are a cool bonus that you get when you level up the NFT, and you will see in the ink sack tasks. You'll see we created kind of a cool, nice gamified mechanic for utilizing keys. And level ups are basically a way to, let's say, enhance the NFT or to create some sort of differentiation between different NFTs. They change their appearance as you go through the different stages, and it's just a way for people to kind of show commitment or be more engaged in the community in a more tangible way. In terms of whatever you should do, I would never give any financial advice for two reasons. One, I can't, but also because my financial advice is the worst. I am like really good at losing money on chain. So definitely never ever listen to anything I say, even if I say something by mistake.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, David. If you guys have any questions, David is very, very approachable on Twitter. Just expect a response in GIF. But yeah, I guess we can call off this section now and move on to the next section. Thank you so much, David, for your time. Really appreciate
Thank
all
you.
the info that you've shared.
Thanks,
And
Thank you
David.
for having me.
speak as well. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Okay. I feel like a lot of people are still, or rather, like, did not really grasp what ICA unlocks for this ecosystem as a whole. But I think once ICA apps come on board, it'll be pretty obvious.
Yeah, underlying infrastructure and bringing native assets to Sui that weren't possible before.
All right. Okay, now I guess the most positive part of this call, which is a section where we basically celebrate all the ecosystem wins, all the achievements of the projects that have been on Sui. First one, well, Walrus launch, of course, probably the biggest launch for the network in a while. All of us are very excited. I hope the community is very, very excited as well. And yeah, we did kind of allude to it before earlier in the call as well, but probably one of the biggest wins for the month for Sui. Next, Kriya implements zero fee on strategy walls. So I think there's been some buzz about protocols on Sui, DeFi protocols on Sui charging a high fees as well. I think Kriya has been trying to be very, very transparent with all their fees, trying to get all the users to use their strategies, their wallets as well, which are very, very cool. And could not be happier to see them take this first plunge into the race to zero for the users. But yeah, I think generally low fees for users is very, very bullish. And yeah, hopefully more protocols on Sui will try to reduce their fees and make it more conducive for new users to use DeFi protocols without any hidden fees in the protocol.
And their CEO, Yogi, just got back from his honeymoon, so he's now on full 100% onto Kriya. So congratulate Yogi and start using all the cool things that they're building.
Yeah. Then Aftermath, Mayan, and Wormhole are basically enabling some form of cross-chain swaps. Um, Very, very cool. Check it out. But yeah, I think generally Mayan, what they're doing with cross-chain swaps is very, very cool. And Aftermath is probably one of the more reliable teams on Sui. So very happy to take to see them take this on and really enable a cross-chain future on Sui before Ika is on mainnet. Steam is out of beta and live. For those that don't know, Steam is the AMM built by Sweland with a very cool premise of basically utilizing underused collateral on their lending protocol. So it kind of blurs the lines between borrowing and lending while keeping very safe security guarantees. Generally, in terms of capital efficiency, it's a pretty big unlock for the Sui DeFi ecosystem as well. So very, very excited about Steam. They also launched their points program, so do check it out, especially with those very juicy walrus incentives that are currently live. Inside X rebrands to Nexa. I think generally I had posted this on my Twitter as well, but products rebranding is, or rather, like very rapid rebranding of products is very, very bullish on founders moving and iterating towards finding a PMF. I think now generally Nexa's goal overall is to become the best trading platform for Sui and not just restrict itself to a copy trading platform. So I think this rebrand makes a lot of sense. We're all a big fan of Allfather, who's the founder as well. Bluefin also recently acquired a majority stake in Nexa, if I'm not wrong. So I think some very, very exciting things cooking in the ecosystem on that front. Pinata bot. So for some context, Pinata used to be a Telegram wallet for Sui, and after Telegram basically rug-pulled them, they pivoted very, very fast into finding a very cool new product as well. Um, Basically being a hub for pre-markets on Sui. They processed about 1.5 million in volume for Walrus, which is very, very cool to see, and just goes on to show that Sui founders are pretty relentless. If you rug them, they will find a new product, rapidly iterate towards the PMF and launch it and get lots of users and uh, find their way within the ecosystem, and or rather like pave their way into the ecosystem again. Final, Sarah, do you want to take on this one?
Yeah, this one was really exciting and just launched yesterday. But Clanosaurus is officially on Walrus now. So that's a really awesome kind of like IP and NFT brand coming over from Solana. So now they're going to be working with Sui and migrating some stuff over here, and that's really exciting. I think people regard Clanosaurus as kind of like the next IP that could potentially rival Disney. You could see things coming out of it from like TV shows, maybe games, plushies. Like they could create a whole universe the same way that Pudgy Penguin has kind of dominated the Web3 space so far. But I think there's a lot more potential in Clanosaurus as a brand, because it seems a little bit more like Web 2 and has that sort of appeal rather than just fully like Web 3 degen. So very exciting for them to be working more closely with Sui. And you should definitely see some more interesting things coming for Basecamp regarding Clanosaurus and some of the other awesome things launching on Sui soon.
Yeah, generally, I think it's one of the coolest and the cutest animations ever. So I can't wait for everything else that they have planned to grow this IP and release products around it. But yeah, I think that brings us to the end of the first iteration of the ecosystem call. I think for us, the format will definitely be progressing, and based on how this one goes, I think we'll iterate towards making it more engaging, inviting more founders, and making it more structured. But I hope you guys had fun. We'll put out snippets of this recording as well, so hopefully there's enough content to keep everybody engaged if they weren't able to make it to the call. But I thank everyone who's on this call and has been active on chat, and we really appreciate all the support. And yeah, I think happy Friday.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Also wanted to mention, please feel free to offer like any constructive criticism or feedback just to us on Twitter so then we can better iterate. It would be good to know like who you think would be interesting guests, any things that you want us to talk about. And then we also can like field the chats better to get questions and kind of bring them on throughout the call. So it becomes more of a dialogue and conversation with you guys. But definitely want this to be helpful to everyone and to the Sui ecosystem instead of us just like talking about things that we think are helpful and might not be. So definitely open to feedback, and we appreciate all of your support and for joining us either late or early your time.
And I think lastly, to conclude, First Movers will share a link to the bounty page as well. We do have some interesting bounties for people to participate in and win some money, get onboarded as a first mover, and be at the forefront of all the alpha on Sui. Um, and yeah, I think we'll conclude it. I need to do a better job at managing the stream as well. So I think this call is a big lesson for me to, do the admin stuff better. But thank you so much again. And thanks, Sarah. Thanks, David, for your time as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Moke. Thanks, David. Oh, and then also we can also probably post like the links earlier, figure out better ways for you to like be
Yeah,
notified when it's happening. Well,
yeah,
definitely
definitely.
iteration for part 2.
I can definitely use some practice. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Hope you had fun.
Thank you. Talk to you guys all later.